Yeah, it's perfect now.
So, has Ankur sir joined?
No, it's
Shall I
just
wait
wait
for him
for
or?
him.
Yeah, sure.
He will join in a minute. You may can start.
Okay.
Yeah, he's here
So
now.
the topic, today's topic is education system in India, and my name is Parth Chaudhary. So let's start. Indian education system is mainly divided into four levels or stages. Lower primary, and in the age and lower primary, the age group of lower primary school is 6 to 10 years. For upper primary, it is 11 and 12 years. And children start their high school usually at the age of 13 years and end at 15 or 16 years, most probably. Whereas at the age of 17 and 18 years, they finish their higher secondary school. These were the four levels of education that the Indian system follow. And now we'll move to the right of education. So Article 21A grants to all the citizens right to education. The state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children of the age of 16 to 14 years. It was added to the Constitution by the 86th Amendment Act of 2002. In the state of Tamil Nadu and others versus K. Shyam Sundar and others, the Honorable Court held that every child has the right to study, and such right should not be restricted only to free and compulsory education, but should be extended to have quality education without any discrimination on the grounds of their economic, social, and cultural background. The Honorable Court in Unni Krishnan JP and others versus State of Andhra Pradesh held that right to education is a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Constitution of India, and free education shall be provided to every child, citizen, up to the age of 14 years. Now let's move on to the condition of government schools in India. A survey in 2007, which was conducted across 16,000 villages, found that while many more children were sitting in the class, vast numbers of them could not read, write, or perform basic arithmetic. The attitude of the concerned authorities towards the plight of the children is callous, indifferent, and inhumane. And the authorities seem to have lost all sense of responsibility and duty towards the lack of children. And there is a lack of academic resources. As fund is limited, so there is a crunch in availability of academic resources in case of government schools. More Indian children are in school than ever before, but the quality of government schools has sunk to spectacularly low levels. The children in these schools come from the poorest of families. In a in a report submitted by the Global Education Monitoring Committee in 2007, it stated that in India, estimates differ among studies on absenteeism of teachers. A representative panel of 1,297 villages found almost 24% of rural teachers were absent during unannounced school visits. Another study of 619 schools in 6 days found that 18.5% of teachers were absent, and 9% were on leave, and 7% on official duties, and 2.5% on authorized absence. Minimal requirements like blackboards, books, stationery, desks are not available when compared to the roll strength in each school. During inspections, the school authorities arrange the resources for a short time span, and the rest of the year, the scenario remains pathetic for government school students. Even infrastructurally speaking, electricity, toilet, and so on are at a very poor state within the premises of Indian government schools. There is a lack of teachers and trainers. One of the constant deprivations that the government schools struggle with is unavailability of teachers and trainers. Lack of fund leads to compromise on tutorial abilities of teachers. Some schools have one teacher training all subjects for all classes. This is one of the real challenges that Indian government schools face, yet no trivial action is called for change the situation. The Kothari Education Commission in 1964 recommended that 6% of GDP to be used in government education, but at present only 3% of it is used. This surely reflects the lack of monetary funding that the government is continuing to do over the education sector, and hence there stands no scope of improvement. Now, as we can see, there are a plethora of problems, and I'll be throwing light upon some of them. There is a traditional examination pattern. There is hardly any rigid exam pattern that is annually followed in these government schools. Students are promoted every year to the next class without written or oral test. This continues because most students leave school by the mid of the fifth or sixth standard. Those who continue till class 10 are then registered to local boards. This hampers the quality of education in Indian schools and is one of the primary reasons for the schools to stand away from the private institutes. There is an increase in dropout rates. In a nation of 282 million illiterate people, 18% of them represent those who left school before completing secondary education. This, of course, reflects the huge dropout rates that the government schools witness every year. The country also failed to meet Millennium Development Goal in 2015. Official data confirms that 63 lakh children aged between 6 to 17 years physically work hard for over 180 days in a year to earn bread and butter for their family. Whether for family pressure or economic crunch, the huge rate of dropout in Indian schools should be altered to minimize the rate of illiteracy. This real picture of Indian government schools can only be altered when the government takes a call, not only with fancy names like Teach India, but literally going to rural areas and ensuring that education is catered at its best to children. To alter the present scenario, it may take decades, but high time to begin the initiative to make the nation a real literate one. In an initiative to provide education and better meals, nutritious meals to the children of India, the government came up with a midday meal scheme, but it did not last and it was not implemented in the way it was thought by the leaders of this country. There were some shortcomings in the scheme, and they are as follows. Corruption is involved in the delivery system due to which children are getting low quality and insufficient food. Although the government provides high quality grains for these children, either these grains are sold off to the nearest kirana stores or they are eaten by the families of the teachers who teach in these schools. And even in some cases, it is found that these high quality grains are replaced with inferior quality ones. So this is the condition, this is the corruption level which we should see and act upon. There is a lack of proper monitoring and supervision is also the biggest problem of this scheme. Reports have found dirtiness, unhygienic conditions at kitchen shed in rural areas to the extent of insects and lizards being spotted in food. Fake enrollments are also done to embezzle money. Reports have also shown children falling ill and being hospitalized due to poor quality of midday meals. So this is the condition of the scheme that the government had implemented. But this requires the action of the authorities and they need to look into the matter with utmost care. So now I'll be concluding the presentation. The education provided in our schools and colleges is detached from life. The curriculum as formed and presented through the conventional methods of education does not give the students insight into the everyday world in which they are living. When they finish their studies, they feel ill-adjusted in society. The education practiced must make its contribution to the evolution of healthy habits, attitudes, and attributes of character so that the student become effective and disciplined citizens of the nation after the achievement of their studies. Such an improvement is possible until such an improvement is impossible until a proper atmosphere has been given to the students through their academic period. Within the spectacles of books, students have seen the scene of the vast world, but with their naked eyes, they may not even get a bird's eye view of the things which they will be facing in life. There is a wide gap between theoretical and practical knowledge. Education should take care of the personality development of students. Sometimes in a country, schools fail to give such training to the students and they end up with low self-confidence. If the schools will participate in students' interpersonal skills improvement, then they would be rising like a star. This training will also help them to build their careers in the future on the basis of employment. It is easy for a child to add two numbers, but does he understand why he has to learn the same? How will it help him in the future? Education should focus on holistic development of a child. You not only have to prepare yourself for a career you're passionate about, but also learn important skills that will help you sustain and live your passion. A perfect proportion of the Gurukul methodology with modern methods of teaching, which should not be distributed on a discriminatory manner, needs to be adopted. It is left to us to understand the benefits and adopt the best of traditional schools. A change in educational system is required for better leaders and human beings. And thank you.